His hands were already on my hips when I realized how dangerously close we had come to crossing that invisible line. The faint smell of cut grass mixed with the musk of his cologne. It wasn't just any cologne, it was the kind that lingered, the kind that felt like it claimed the space around you. The golf course was quiet, late afternoon sun casting long shadows, and there I was, pressed against the practice wall behind the clubhouse by a man who was supposed to be just a coach, just a friend, just a distraction. His lips were grazing mine, just teasing, never fully landing, and my body was trembling with anticipation. I could hear the faint sound of golf carts rolling in the distance, the murmur of laughter from members at the bar patio. And yet, in that stolen moment, all I could think about was him. About how easily I had let myself slide into something reckless. "Say you want it," he whispered, his voice low, rough, and demanding in a way that both scared me and set me on fire. I swallowed hard. My ring felt heavier on my finger than ever, like a weight dragging me back to reality. But still, I didn't move. I didn't push him away. I let him hold me there, his thumb brushing dangerously close to my lips. And just when I thought he was about to kiss me, when my knees had gone weak and my body had already betrayed my mind, I pulled away. Breathless. Dizzy. Completely undone. That was the moment I knew this wasn't going to be a harmless game. This was going to hurt me. This was going to burn me. Before I take you deeper, let me pause for a second. If you're listening to this, you already know this story isn't clean. It isn't simple. It's messy, it's raw, it's the kind of truth people hide under layers of smiles. If you've ever wanted to know what it feels like to be someone's secret, stay with me. And while you do, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this story with someone who needs to feel how dangerous temptation can be. Because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of thing I'll never admit to anyone in real life. Let me take you back to how it all started. I wasn't even supposed to be at that country club. It was my husband's idea, not mine. He said joining would give him networking opportunities, new business connections, a way to loosen up his stress. And me? I was just supposed to play the polished wife, smiling politely at charity dinners, sipping wine while he talked deals with other men. The first time I saw Ethan, he was on the driving range. His swing was effortless, the kind you only saw on television when golf was more about grace than power. His arms were bronzed, veins visible under the skin, his back wide beneath his fitted polo. There was nothing flashy about him, but there was everything confident. I should have looked away. I should have kept my eyes on my phone or on the wine glass in my hand. But my gaze lingered, and lingered too long. "Beautiful shot," I found myself saying when he noticed me watching. He smiled, not the kind of smile you give to a stranger, but the kind that feels like an invitation. "Want me to show you how it's done?" That was all it took. The next week, I found myself in tennis shoes, hair tied back, a borrowed visor on my head, standing awkwardly with a club in my hand while he adjusted my grip. His hands were large, warm, guiding mine until my fingers rested just right. And every correction after that brought him closer. His chest brushing against my shoulder. His breath tickling my ear when he whispered, "Relax, loosen up." I was a married woman, but in those moments, I wasn't. In those moments, I was a woman being noticed. Desired. Guided into a world I didn't belong in but was curious to explore. "Bend your knees more," he said once, crouching beside me, his hand gliding just above my thigh as if testing how far he could push before I pulled back. But I didn't. I didn't move an inch. And from that moment on, the game stopped being about golf. Weeks passed, and soon I wasn't attending lessons to improve my swing. I was attending them to feel his eyes on me, to feel his touch disguised as instruction. My husband thought I was finally taking an interest in the club, and I let him believe it. But the truth? I was falling into something dangerous. Something I didn't know how to stop. Ethan's texts started coming late at night. "Still awake? Can't stop thinking about how you look today." Simple words, but they consumed me. And I answered them, every single one. Until the day it all changed. That day, the one I began this story with, he cornered me behind the clubhouse after practice. His lips so close, his hands anchoring me against the wall, my pulse racing out of control. That day, the line blurred beyond repair. And maybe I should stop here for now. But if you're curious about how one swing led me into a hole I couldn't crawl out of, keep listening. This isn't the kind of story you'll find in movies, it's the kind of story women like me take to the grave. But you? You get to hear it all. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and share, because the next chapter will take you deeper. Into the night I finally said yes to him. I never thought I'd return to that golf course. After that first night with him, my body was both sore and craving. My conscience was quiet, almost absent, like it had packed its bags and gone on vacation. But my desire? My desire stayed awake, restless, burning. He texted me the next afternoon. Just 2 words. Back 9? I knew what he meant. It wasn't about golf. It wasn't about putts or swings. It was about me. My body. My breath. My surrender. Before I take you further into what happened that day, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone daring enough to listen, and subscribe to the channel, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it's a confession. A secret I swore I'd never share with anyone, yet here I am, whispering it to you. I met him by the carts, my heart drumming against my chest like a wild rhythm. The sun was hotter than the day before, beating down on the manicured grass. But his stare? That stare scorched me more than the July heat ever could. Couldn't stop thinking about you, he said, leaning closer, the scent of leather gloves and his musky cologne wrapping around me. I smiled, though my knees threatened to buckle. You make it sound like I'm some kind of obsession. You are, he whispered, his hand brushing my waist as if the fairway was ours alone. We didn't make it past the second hole. The game was abandoned, clubs resting useless in the bag. He pulled me into the shade of a tree that had probably witnessed decades of quiet games, but never something this reckless. His lips crashed against mine, not caring if someone, somewhere, might see. The way he kissed me, it wasn't gentle. It wasn't even patient. It was hunger meeting hunger, lust colliding with lust. His hands slipped beneath my blouse, my breath catching like I'd been hit by a powerful swing. I let him, no, I wanted him to push me against the tree, bark scratching my back, but pleasure clouding any thought of pain. Say you'll give yourself to me again, he demanded, his voice heavy. I already have, I gasped, my nails digging into his shoulders. That second encounter was rougher, wilder, almost punishing. He treated me like I was both the prize and the punishment, like scoring with me was his victory and my undoing. And maybe he was right. Every thrust, every touch, every groan, it all hurt in the most delicious, aching way. When it was over, I lay there, panting, hair tangled, lips swollen. My body ached like I had run a marathon barefoot, but deep down, I wanted another round, another reason to hurt. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew this wasn't just lust anymore. It was becoming an addiction. And addictions never end quietly. I didn't think it would get this far. By then, the stolen touches had turned into something more, something heavy, secret, and impossible to shake off. He had this habit of calling me late at night after his practices, when the stadium lights were still fading from his skin, and his voice carried the smell of sweat and victory. One of those nights, he told me to meet him at the golf course after hours. I thought it was crazy, dangerous even, but my body didn't care. My heart kept whispering, go. So I went. The course was silent under the moonlight, the grass damp, the air carrying a mix of earth and temptation. He stood there leaning on his driver, not as a golfer this time, but as a man burning with want. The moment I stepped closer, he dropped the club and his hands gripped me instead. Do you know what you do to me? He whispered, his breath running down my neck. I should have said no. I should have pushed him away. But my lips betrayed me. They met his, hungry, raw, aching for the taste I had been replaying in my head since that first stolen kiss. And right here, my dear listeners, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who craves stories that cut as deep as desire itself. Back to that night. The way his hands moved, it was like he was tracing the map of a forbidden country, one he knew he shouldn't enter but couldn't resist. My back pressed against the clubhouse wall, the moonlight spilling over us like a spotlight catching sinners in the act. Every part of me screamed for more even as guilt clawed at the edges of my chest. I whispered, "What if someone finds out?" He smirked, brushing his thumb over my lips. "Then let them. They'll only see how much I need you." And with that, the game wasn't about golf anymore. I was his score, his victory, his secret addiction. But addiction comes with pain. The deeper we sank, the more I realized, this wasn't just pleasure. This was going to hurt. The afternoon sun was sliding lower, throwing golden streaks across the golf course. By then, we had gone beyond stolen glances and subtle brushes of fingers. I was already too deep in his orbit, a game I had no chance of winning. He invited me back to his private clubhouse suite, a place reserved for special members. My pulse raced as I followed him, my wedding ring heavy on my hand, but my body light with the kind of anticipation that drowned out logic. The room smelled faintly of leather, cedarwood, and his cologne. He locked the door with a deliberate click, one that told me there was no turning back. His eyes pinned me the way he studied a golf ball before his swing, focused, hungry, calculated. "Do you know," he whispered as he came close, "that every time you smiled at me on the green, I wanted to taste you more than I wanted to win the game?" His confession was reckless, but so was mine, the way I leaned in, lips trembling, inviting. His kiss was rough, like he was devouring weeks of suppressed hunger. He pressed me against the wall, his hands everywhere, as if searching for the weakness in my defenses the way he searched for flaws in his golf game. And when he finally had me sprawled on his leather couch, I became his course, his field, his terrain. He played me with intensity, with precision, with force. Every thrust, every bite, every grip of his fingers on my skin felt like he was chasing a record, breaking boundaries, scoring over and over. I should have said stop. I should have remembered my husband. I should have remembered myself. But his passion was addictive, dangerous, destructive. The golfer turned me into his scoring hole, and yes, it hurt. Not just my body but my soul, because I knew the damage would last far longer than the bruises on my skin. Still, I didn't push him away. I opened wider. I let him claim me. I let him win. And somewhere in the middle of it, when my moans echoed off the walls, I remembered, "Oh God, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel." Because this story, my story, isn't just about lust. It's about confessions, betrayals, and the fire that can consume you when you think you're safe. When it was over, I lay there breathless, aching, raw. He kissed me like he had conquered something valuable, whispering, "You're my sweetest victory." But I wasn't sure if I had won anything, or if I had just lost it all. I never thought I'd reach this point, but here I am, sitting by my bedroom window, staring out into the night, replaying every stroke of passion, every risk I took, and every secret kiss that shouldn't have happened. He was a golfer to the world, admired for his skill, his calmness on the green, and his picture-perfect public life. But to me, he was danger wrapped in desire. He was the man who took my quiet world and swung it into chaos. He didn't just turn me into his scoring hole, he turned me into an addict, someone who waited breathlessly for the next game, even when exhaustion begged me to stop. I remember our last time so vividly. The heat of the sun clung to our skin, the faint smell of grass and sweat mixing with his cologne, his lips claiming mine with hunger that felt like it could never be satisfied. His hands traced me with the same precision he used to guide his clubs, steady yet ruthless, knowing exactly where to strike. He whispered that I was his final round, his hole-in-one, his secret he couldn't resist. And though those words thrilled me, I knew deep inside, I was nothing more than a hidden part of his scorecard. A game he could never admit he played. Even now, I ache remembering how his body pinned me down, how his breath grew ragged, how my whispers turned into pleas for more even when I swore I had nothing left to give. He drained me, yet he lit me alive. And when he finally collapsed against me, sweaty, trembling, and satisfied, I realized I had given more than my body. I had given him a piece of my soul. But this isn't just my memory. It's my confession. And maybe that's why I'm here, talking to you. So before I go deeper, let me remind you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who dares to touch the edge of forbidden passion. Your support keeps me brave enough to keep telling the truth, my truth. Now I sit here, not as his lover, not even as his secret. Just as a woman who once surrendered everything for a man who played with me like a course, strategic, relentless, and unforgettable. He may have left the green. He may have gone back to his trophies, his fans, his wife. But I will always remember how he turned me into his scoring hole, and how I lost myself somewhere between lust and love. I shouldn't have let him close the distance, but the way his touch lingered on me felt like he was writing his name into my skin. Every kiss, every whisper, every stolen moment we shared on that green wasn't just lust, it was fire. A fire that I knew could burn me down, yet I kept feeding it, letting his swing guide me, letting his passion turn me into something I never imagined. He wasn't just a golfer that night. He was a man who played me with precision, like I was his championship game, and I let him score over and over until exhaustion gave way to ecstasy. And now, here I am, still trembling, still addicted, still replaying the way he turned me into his secret victory. I wasn't caught, but I confess, I'll never look at a golf course the same way again. Sparkles, if you felt the heat in my story, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone daring enough to handle this kind of confession. Because my adventures, they don't stop here. And trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. Sparkles.